Ready to go? And hello, good afternoon, everybody. Hello and welcome to Veterans News. This is a production of the United Veterans Organization of Nassau County. My name is Rob Bryan. I'm going to be the guest host today because Mr. Ed Allman bailed on me. I want to thank Erica Bradley of the North Shore TV for the use of her studio facilities here in Lake Success. I also want to reach out and thank Miss Lacey for being our guest host here today as well. And speaking out to all of the people out there in Nassau County and Suffolk County, all you vets out there, I want to welcome you and thank you for viewing in here, and also the boroughs in New York City. I want to thank Sabrina Lacey again, to a former commander and current chaplain of Suffolk County VFW. And I'd like to thank Donna for being our guest today. And we're going to talk about Donna and her career here in the Army. I want to also mention that this woman over here served her country for 20 years. This woman over here served her country for 10 years. And I want to thank you both because you both led incredible careers and have done incredible work. Your work after those towers fell in 9/11, and you went to Bellevue Hospital and you were a nurse helping all those victims that were coming into that hospital. God bless you for that. And Donna, everything that you've gone through in your life and your career, which we'll get into in a little bit, I want to thank you for everything that you've done. You're an amazing woman. Before we get on with speaking with Donna, there's a few veterans that have passed away. And we want to take a few minutes out to remember all of those people. One gentleman was the United States Air Force chaplain, Rabbi Ben Sampson. He passed away at 88 years old. There's Santo Mintuli, a Navy vet that died at 99 years young. He was from South Setauket. Edward Smiths was ROTC student at Hofstra University and went on to become a first lieutenant of the United States Army. He was from Levittown and lived a long life as a historian. Then there was Robert Farrell, private first class in the U.S. Army, and earned a master's degree from Long Island University. A resident of Huntington, he traced the whereabouts of thousands of Civil War veterans. John Lynch of Huntington attended St. Michael's College and then served in the U.S. Navy during the Vietnam era. There was William Barkham of Wantor, was an Annapolis graduate who served with the pride of the U.S. Navy. James Porro of East Islip died at 90 years. He served in the U.S. Army and was stationed in Washington, D.C. Brian O'Donnell of Oakdale was a U.S. Marine who spent 35 years with the Suffolk County Police Department. Douglas Bayless lived in Valley Stream. He got married, then got drafted. He packed up his MG and drove off to Fort Polk in Louisiana, and then back to Fort Hamilton when he was discharged. And last but not least, Thomas Britt was a member of the North Babylon, town that I grew up in, fire department, a Vietnam veteran, disabled American veterans, and he was a member of the Catholic War Veterans. If you knew any veterans that died recently, please let us know by contacting us at MARDIVONE@optimum.net. I don't know if you could see that.
We have it posted.
You got it.
And we want to also give our prayers to the family of the Bush. We just lost a president of the United States of America. So we lost another historian is the president of the United States. And we want to give the prayers out to the family.
Absolutely.
And those veterans who still serving on active duty.
Excellent. So welcome, Donna.
Thank you for having me.
So I met Donna, you know, you could probably see on my hat, I'm part of an organization, Vets Out of the Rough. About a year ago, I met one of the finest men I've ever met in my life. His name is John Welsh. And he and Kathy Fowle runs this organization, and it was working with this group where every Monday night over 130 veterans come, and we teach them. I'm one of the coaches. I teach them how to play the game of golf, And Donna was one of the students that came up to me one day, and when she hits a ball, I want you to know something. She hits it a ton, but Lord knows where it's going. You know?
It might go left ring, right ring.
And every shot she takes, and it was kind of crazy the first time I saw her do this. So she drives a ball quite a distance, and then her next shot is usually with a 7-iron, and she drives that quite a distance, and then her next shot is to pitch, but she drives it like a driver, and she knocks that over the holes. But when she finally gets the ball on the putting green, darn if she doesn't hit it just like she hits the driver. So we gotta teach her a little bit of pace. But it was at that golf course that I heard Donna sharing a story with one of the other female veterans that was really suffering and really running through some troubles. And they were talking to each other, and I overheard the conversation. And I heard Donna say to this other veteran, listen, there's so many organizations that can help you. There's so many ways to get help, and honey, you've got to reach out to them. Because I came back, I did 2 tours of duty in Vietnam, in Iraq in 2003 and 2004. And I came back, and I wasn't prepared to deal with all the things that I had to deal with when I went over to Iraq. I was in the reserves. You know, they didn't teach me what war was going to be like in the reserves. I did my monthly meetings. I did my 2-week summer camp, and all of a sudden I find myself going over to Kuwait, and they're setting up thousands of trucks that are going to go across a location called the Berm. And she starts hearing artillery fire, and she starts hearing cannon fire, and she starts hearing small guns fire, and she realizes, oh my God, I'm in a war. Well, she went back-to-back tours there, and it affected Donna. She was hurting when she came back home. She didn't adjust really well back into civilization life. And when she came back, her husband, he walked out. She got pregnant, but he walked out. And when he walked out, her complications with the pregnancy went bad. Baby was lost, and Donna was totally broken. And she's sharing this story with this other vet. She says, but I would not accept this fate. I knew that my life has to turn around. I can't become a victim. And what she ended up doing is she ended up reaching out to veterans organizations to help her. So many organizations. There were so many YouTubes on this woman. There's so many accomplishments that this woman made. She went back to school. She graduated from Columbia University. And
you have a degree in social work, right?
yeah, she ended up getting a master's degree. And she's working out there at the Pilgrim State Psychiatric Hospital as a social worker.
Well, as a bridger for the intensive case management team.
Yeah.
So Donna, I have a couple of questions for you. Beginning in, what made a woman of your caliber, first of all, to join the military and to choose the area that you chose? Because I know when I joined, my uncles told me, Sabrina, women do not join the military. And I still hear that radiate, I still hear the echo in my mind. Women do not join the military, and I joined the military, and I stayed for 20 years. So what were you thinking when you decided to join?
Well, I had an uncle who served in the Army in Trinidad, so he was like a role model to me. I never met him. I remember going to Trinidad, and I saw him. I didn't see him, but I know I went to his base and was inspiring to see soldiers in uniform, so that inspired me. And then I went to the Brentwood School District, and in high school I joined the junior ROTC program for 4 years. I did that for 4 years. I liked it. It was a good discipline, showing how the military is like. And after,
where were you living at the time? Like what high school were you in?
Brentwood High School.
Brentwood High School.
Yeah, I did the JROTC for 4 years straight.
And you know I give out 2 scholarships there every year. For the last 10 years I've been doing that. Isn't it cool?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And I don't want to cut you off, but for me being here, like you talking, Rob, about her being here, I have to say thank you to my co-host, my host, Ed Newman. That's the reason why I'm here, because he recruited me, and that's how I got here. And like I said, once I got here, then I started doing other things, and then that's how I got into the Brentwood and got with the Junior ROTC people.
good.
So tell me about your experience.
Well, after graduating from high school, I wanted to go to college, which I went to SUNY Farmingdale.
Yes.
And I did that, and then I had, while I was going to college, I had an idea that I wanted to go to college, join the armed forces. So I looked into some of the armed forces, and the best fit for me at that time was the Army. So I spoke to the Army recruiter, and I told him I wanted to do Army Reserve to finish up my college.
And what year was that about?
Well, back in I joined the Army Reserves back in 1996, but when I saw the recruiter, he put me on the late entry program for a year.
Okay.
So I did that for a year, and then right after I graduated from college in 1997, in May, in 1997, that same month, I went into basic training.
Okay.
Yeah, I went to basic training at Fort Jackson, South Carolina, and then as well as advanced individual training.
And
I
that
was a
was Army?
mechanic, Army. Yeah.
All right, what's your MOS?
Which is another
63 Bravo.
coinky dink, because
Huh?
that's
63
where I
Bravo.
was stationed at Fort Jackson, South
Fort Jackson?
Carolina, and I was assigned to a basic training company. I was like radar. I was the company clerk.
Okay.
And but we processed in 800 troops every 8 weeks. Okay, 1 week off in between, and then another 800 troops came in. So that's where you got your training, and that's
Right.
what I did.
And thank
during
you,
my
Rob,
tenure there.
because at the beginning, when people were coming in, like you was a little bit fearful, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's not easy to join the military, all right? It's not easy to stay in the military. And once you make a decision to go, right, it's a mixture of everything. So when you went into the Army, when you first went there, you were in the reserves, right?
Right.
And then, what year did you get deployed?
Well, I got a condition release from my reserve commander to go on active duty, which I did. And I was stationed in Georgia, Fort Stewart Hunter Army Airfield. So during my active duty contract, within 6 months, when I was active duty, I was deployed to Iraq.
Okay.
But I
So,
was stationed in Georgia, yeah.
all right. How much training they gave you before you went over?
Well, we got some training before I went over, but it was so quick, you know.
Yes.
I mean, how many weeks?
Maybe like 3 weeks. or
Okay.
so,
Yeah.
Yeah,
give
that's
or
a
take.
lot.
Yeah, the military has this rapid thing. I used to train, so sometimes I had to train probably like 100 troops in probably about an hour. So I had to push them through, train them, and they had to go about their business. But as you go on, you get to learn how it flows, and then you learn the language of the military, then you learn how to adapt to it. Am I talking
Right.
here? Right. So tell me, when you first got the call to go to Iraq?
Yeah, right.
Right.
Well, we had to start packing and stuff, and it was scary, you know, to think of that. Because I just joined active duty,
Right.
and within 6 months, I'm getting deployed.
Right.
So that was a rude awakening for me.
And how about your family?
My family was scared, nervous.
Okay. Was your mom around?
My mom was around.
Okay. All right. So, and what were you experiencing as you left? Did you have to leave by yourself?
Well, yeah, I left with my unit,
Right.
my whole company.
Your whole unit
yeah.
left. Okay. And then you did how many months in Iraq? And
My
where in Iraq?
The first time we were in Baghdad for a while, and then during the 22-day assault into Baghdad, and then after that, we moved further up to Garma for some time, and then the last 3 months, I did a total of 9 months, the first deployment. The last 3 months, we went to Talil Air Base.
And what was your mission? What was your purpose? What was your...
Well, I worked in a transportation unit, hauling fuel, but I was a mechanic, so, you know, we had to do a lot of stuff. Like, during the deployment, we had to do, like, missions as far as pulling guard duty, and when we went to Iraq, there was nothing built, so we had to build everything from scratch.
Okay. What year was that?
During the initial invasion, 2003.
Okay, 2003.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So they didn't even have the PX built up by
No,
then?
nothing like that.
So everything was there. All right. And then did you see any action or anything like that?
Yeah, we saw a lot of action.
Firing and stuff like
Firing, rocket grenades, mortar rounds, and, you know, it was scary because certain nights we would get hit at night, so that was scary. you know.
Okay. I don't want to take you down that lane again because I don't want to trigger you, because I know a lot of veterans out there too, as we speak, sometimes that can be a triggering point for the PTSD, you know. Like I'm speaking to Donna right now and I'm thinking about different places that I've been. I'm quite sure all our veterans that's here are also thinking about that. And that's why I say these organizations that they got now, Combat Wounded, Veterans of America, Veterans Out of the Roof, the VFW, the American Legions. There's so many avenues that you can reach out to get your assistance to, and you can always come down here and be a part of us, right? So how do you feel now that you completed your first tour and you came back home?
I felt, well, I completed my first tour. Felt that it was a good accomplishment. It was sad that, you know, while I was deployed, we had lost quite a bit of soldiers in my platoon. I know I lost my squad leader and another soldier in my unit. But during the initial invasion, during that time, we lost the most soldiers, so that was hard. Getting back into that, you know, going back into garrison. And readjusting, it was quite different as far as was driving. Things like when you see stuff on the road, be cautious of it, because you never know, it might be like an IED or a landmine, something like that.
So living with that stress each and every day, kind of.
Even up to now, to this day. You
The
know?
mind wasn't meant to be able to handle those
and one of
kinds
the
things
thing
day in
is,
day
and I'm
out.
going to say, and I'm going to put this out here because this is our forum, right? To the new president that we have in the United States as we go forward, right? We cannot continue to not train and mentally get these veterans prepared to go over into these environments if they haven't been in them. I know that I can resonate with you because I was sent to Korea, right out of basic and AIT, and I didn't even know what Korea was. I thought it was like going to Manhattan because I didn't know too much about overseas or whatever, and it was a shell shock because it's a whole new identity and you have to run with it. However, as a veteran, right, it teaches you how to really nap into it and become a soldier because you got him next to you, you got me next to you, and we become a team. That's how you radiate through it, right?
Right.
The soldiers that you communicate with make it a little bit more tolerant until that time comes for you to get back home, right?
Right, right.
All right. So do you still have any friends from your tour?
Yeah, I have a few, you know, like through Facebook. I keep in contact with them. Or I haven't, like some of the organizations I belong to, like if I go away, I have never met anyone like from where I served in person again. But like, I mean, different veterans from all walks of life, you know.
Okay. The veterans, I'm going to go quick with this. The veterans going to want to know, now you get a call again for you to go for your second tour.
Oh,
What
wow.
were you thinking and what was your family thinking? You already saw the casualties and all that kind of stuff.
Well, that was, going back again, it was even scarier because like both deployments were rough. And I think like the second deployment, it was a little bit more challenging with the insurgents because they knew as far as how to hurt the soldiers. Could we just get like blown up like left and right? How they got more sophisticated as far as using the IEDs and rocket grenades and stuff. So that was challenging. But then at the same time with the military, they were more knowledgeable and skillful as far as helping build the vehicles with the up armor stuff, which was thing, you know.
You're wearing an awful lot of rings here on those hands.
Yeah.
What are the significance of
Well,
these?
this is my college ring from Columbia University. This is my Mariana wing. And this is a ring from the Phi Theta Kappa for two-year academic honor society. And this one is from SUNY Westbury,
Nice.
bachelor's.
And what's going on here?
And this is a bracelet from one of my soldiers who got killed in Iraq from an IED. His name was Ryan Carlott.
Ryan.
And this other one was my squad leader who got killed in Iraq from an accident. His name was Sergeant Hart. So I use this like a keepsake remembrance of them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And our prayers go out to all those soldiers that lost their lives during that war and all the wars for past, you know, and the families are still heartache for their loved ones.
Right.
So, and the Veteran News, we give you our love and our support too. So if you ever need anything, we're here. We're a good support. All our veterans here, right? right? All our veterans are here. We all veterans. We all serve, and we volunteer here to have these discussions. As a woman serving in the military, I have to ask this question, because how many were there when you were serving?
Serving like over 150 soldiers, probably like 20
20
in my company.
in your company,
Yeah.
all right? Did y'all get the support that you needed? Because now, you know, there's more men serving in the military. We get more women now. What do you think one of the things we can do to make it a little bit more tolerant for you, women that's serving?
More tolerant as far as
The needs, if you can think
the
of any.
needs. I would say, well, the second deployment, I was fortunate where we had a female commander and a female first sergeant, and we had like about 20 female veterans, which was a good thing. But as far as needs, it's good to have, how can I say this? It's quite different. I would say like it's nicer to see, it's impressive to see like more females in higher position authority figures in the military.
Okay, and we have a transition of that because I see
Yeah.
more generals
Right,
now than we ever saw before. During my time, because I served in '85,
Okay.
right? So when you came back home, we want to get into that, right? When you got back home and you're coming home and you reach out to some of these organizations, what would you say, if you have to say to a veteran out there who's dealing with the same thing you may have dealt with, what do you say to get them to come out of their house and get into one of these organizations?
I would say, you know, try going to the VA hospital, the vet center, the VFW posts, American Legion, and American Vets. Those are the VFW and Vets. American Legion are older posts. They speak for themselves. But then you have the newer organizations like the Wounded Warrior Project, Team Rubicon.
Team Rubicon is an organization where she and John Welsh, actually,
Yeah.
from Veterans Out of the Rough, they work together to
Yeah. Okay.
work at the...
What is
at
that
the food-
organization
at-
called?
Team Rubicon.
Team Rubicon.
It's like a natural
Team
Rubicon.
Rubicon.
It's similar to Red Cross where they do natural disaster relief, but Team Rubicon is more geared for veterans, but you have a lot of civilians. And during the COVID, that's what Rob was saying, I met John Welch. We did the food pantry during the COVID for like almost a year.
So because we...
And what about the
Because we're running out of time.
Yeah, the yacht. What about the
I've got to get this one thing in.
Yeah.
So during that conversation that you were having with this other female veteran that was taking place, you mentioned that you started with a group of other veterans something called 22 Pack. And 22 Pack was to honor the veterans that commit suicide every single day of the week. And they said, let's raise money so that we could bring attention, first of all, to what's going on out there. And instead of doing a bike ride or a walkathon, let's kayak across from Connecticut all the way to Port Jefferson. So this woman, in a kayak with 19 other veterans, went across that distance, which was about 19 miles.
Well, 22 miles.
20,
Yeah,
is it
it's
exactly
22
miles.
miles?
We had to put pedal kayaks, but I know my partner, we took a break, and then after he didn't really sit like straight in the kayak, so my kayak tipped over while we were kayaking. So I would panic. I was scared. I yelled. And,
Can you swim?
Well, I could swim, but I had my life vest on. But I felt like when I was in the water, like the sharks would come after me.
It's hard. It's hard getting back into a kayak after you fall.
I was holding him tightly. I was panicking. So, you know, I tried getting back on it. He tried helping me, but I couldn't get back on the kayak.
It's an amazing feat.
Yeah.
It's incredible that you were dealing with all the troubles that you were dealing with and somehow managed to get a hold of all of these organizations to help you. And I think what Sabrina was trying to get across, and what I really want to get across, is that if you're listening to the show and you're a veteran and you're having any problems, take a little advice from this woman and go out there and seek the help that you need, okay? Because there are organizations out there that will do just that. They'll get you through it. That's what we're here for. And I want you all to also to know that this program not only will be broadcast on, I think it's channel 12.
And
you know,
20.
and 20, but it also goes up on YouTube. So if anybody wants to go into YouTube and go into the search box and put Ed Allman at Veterans News, and then you put in a date. This will be January 25. You could see the show all over again. Before we got 3 minutes, and I want to give you something.
Well, before that, I know another organization called We Defy Foundation. I was introduced to the
What's it called?
We Defy Foundation.
We Defy
Foundation. I was introduced to the Wounded Warrior Project, and I'm taking Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
I'm giving Donna.
And
I got to give Donna a gift.
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and lockdown, which is it right here. I got a
You got it?
year scholarship through We Defy Foundation. So this is another outlet for veterans who suffer from PTSD. If you want to do Brazilian
What is it
Jiu-Jitsu.
called?
Well,
Lockdown?
Lockdown. That's the
Okay.
name of the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu I belong to, Lockdown. And I
And
want
tell them what the Zuzu is.
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is like martial arts. And, you know, you do that. And I find it's challenging, but it's rewarding. It's exercising. It's the
And you
best.
do that too?
Yeah.
Well, you find time to do all this stuff.
I try.
Yes.
Yes.
I try to do that.
So John Welsh, you once walked up to John Welsh and said, "John, make me one of those." John Welsh is a great artist, by the way.
Oh, nice.
And he said, "You know, I just don't make flags for anybody." He says, "But you know, Rob, I've been watching what you and Donna have been talking about and listening to what's going on." And he said, "You know something? This woman can be in my foxhole any day." And he made you this, and it says, the original 1776. If you can get that on, I got 1 minute to get this through.
Just let them see it.
And this is what it says. It says the 3rd Infantry Division, along with the coalition forces and 10,000 plus vehicles, simultaneously crossed the Burn in March 21, 2003, during the U.S. invasion of Iraq. After a substantial Iraqi artillery barrage, they met the enemy in numerous skirmishes throughout their 300-mile advance across Iraq. It was a remarkable advance into enemy territory and a great display of speed and daring and heroism. The enemy was either disposed of or taken prisoner or scattered throughout the desert, never to be rejoining their units. The 3rd ID suffered 0 casualties. And John,
Thank you.
John wanted you to have this.
Thank you.
Picture around, show the photo.
Thank you. Thank you, Vets out of the Rough. Thank you, John Wells.
Absolutely.
Let the staff come up. The rest of the crew come up.
Yeah.
Ed, come on, crew. Come on, right? And thank you, Donna, and thank you, Rob,
And
for being here.
And thank you,
All
Sabrina.
right. And thank you for your service.
You're
And Donna, thank you for coming home
Yes.
and
welcome.
telling your
Thank you.
story.
I'm glad to share my
And
story.
we appreciate it.
Thank you.
We
Awesome.
appreciate it.
Congratulations.
Thank you.